Hey, so as you've guessed, this is the bookshelf scavenger hunt, which I think is a really cool tag idea. You've probably seen these going around, so I'll just get right into it. The first item is find an author's name or title with Z in it, or Z if you prefer. Ooh. The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. The next is to find a classic. Seriously? Like, all of those books. I'll just go with Les Miserables. It's a beast of a classic. Next is find a book with a key on it. I think... Yep, The Key to the Golden Firebird, and there is a key. Very tiny, but it's there. Next is to find something on your shelf that is not a book. Something that you guys might not have seen recently is this Rubik's Cube. And yes, I do know how to solve it. I learned from one Mr. Dan Brown. Next is to find the oldest book on your shelf. If you watched my last video, you would have seen these 4 books, which were all published in around 1902. This one is probably my favorite because it's just so gorgeous. Actually, I'm pretty sure this book of poetry is pretty old. 1879. Also worth mentioning is this 1936 edition of Tom Sawyer. Next is to find a book with a girl on the cover. There are definitely plenty of those. I'm gonna go with The Brontes by Juliet Barker. 3 girls on the cover. Next is find a book with an animal in it. This one is definitely easy. Under Wildwood, the strange wolf stared silently into the glow of the fire. Next is to find a book with a male protagonist. Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I don't know if his name is Tristan or Tristran, because there's definitely 2 R's in there, but he's definitely a boy. Next is to find a book with only words on it, and I already know exactly which one it will be. This edition of To Kill a Mockingbird. This book just deserves a better cover, don't you think? Honorable mention, The Scarlet Letter. So I just recorded the second half of this video and my camera turned off and I apparently didn't hit the record button when I went to film it. So I already found the rest of the books. So I guess I'll just pick up where I left off. For a book with illustrations in it, I chose The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, illustrated by Barry Moser. And for example, here is an illustration of Charles McCarthy dead. Yep. For a book with gold lettering, I went with The Picture of Dorian Gray and Other Works, which has gold lettering both on the cover and on the spine. And for a diary, true or fictional, I couldn't actually find one. The closest thing I could find is The Catcher in the Rye, which I don't think really works. The next one is to find a book written by an author with a really common name, like Smith. And I actually found A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. For a book that has a close-up of something on it, I actually found 3 books. Hugo Cabret has a close-up of a face on it, and The Host also has a close-up of a face on it, and The Night I Disappeared also has a close-up of a face on it. And next is to find a book that takes place in the earliest time period, and I found the Poetic Edda, the mythological poems, originally written in Icelandic. Next is to find a hardcover book without a dust jacket, and I had a lot of these, so I just chose Middlemarch by George Eliot. And next is to find a teal or turquoise book, and I didn't find one with a turquoise cover, but the spine of Year of Magical Thinking is definitely kind of turquoise. And then to find a book with stars on it, I actually went with Stardust again, which has a star right there. And lastly, find a non-YA book. I mean, seriously? Really? How about some good old Crime and Punishment? So that was the book scavenger hunt tag, and it was really fun, so if you haven't done it yet, definitely do it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. This is what my chair looks like when I'm done filming.